Good afternoon. Oh my God, I started it like that again. I do that every single time. We are live on the Facebook. Rythmia, let's call it up here. Happy Sunday Fun Day. Happy first official Sunday of summer. Thursday was the summer solstice and we are here heading into the most beautiful time of the year in my opinion in the Northern Hemisphere. Being a Canadian, this is the time that I loved, hence why I moved to Costa Rica. Summertime, summer loving. Calling you guys, calling up the old Facebook on my laptop so we can interact. So it's about 34 degrees here right now with a little extra humidity. Ciao, Christian. Bye. Have a good day at the beach.
Thanks,
Love you too. Bye, Candy. Bye, Sorry, distractions. So I was saying it's like 34 degrees, but I promised a few of you out there were saying that you wanted to see me in a chef's coat. And I have to be honest, I'm not very professional in that regard. My entire staff here that work in the kitchen, they're always wearing amazing, beautiful, official chef's uniforms because they're working in the kitchen. But for me, I'm typically always in the restaurant, out with the tables and interacting with the guests, so I don't often wear a proper kitchen uniform because it's quite hot. Clearly, we're in Costa Rica. So I thought that I would bust out the old official chef's coat for all y'all that have been asking for it today. And, you know, in pure my kind of fashion, I couldn't just wear a black or a white one. So I actually own several pink ones. This is one that I bought recently. And so I wanted to kick that for y'all today. Show you that, I'll show you what's up. And then I have something else to share with you. Purge and merge. I'm wearing the brand today. So if you haven't been to Rythmia, you might not get this. But this is a shirt that we sell in the gift shop. And I believe that this saying came from a very off-the-cuff remark made by one of our staffers, Nicole, at the time. We always joke here, hey Jerry, you missed the big reveal. Jerry's laughing at me. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. So purge and merge, this was a saying that I think Nicole came up with. And if you've been to Rythmia, you know we always talk about purging in many different forms of the word. When we're here doing the medicine and the herbal plant therapy, we're letting go of a lot. We're letting go of old stories, old beliefs, old ideas about who we are and who we used to be. But there's a lot of physical purging that can take place through the breathwork and the herbal therapy in the ways of sweating, yawning, smiling, laughing, vomiting, diarrhea, all of those things. So we always joke that there's so much purging going on here, and the final goal of all of the work that you do when you're here for the week is to merge back with your soul, or to come back to that inner child that is completely unconditioned and full of love and light. So this became like a little bit of the catchphrase around here. Purge and merge. Just get your purge and merge on. So this is much more cool and comfortable for me to be kicking the rest of this Facebook Live in today. And as you'll see, you know what, I should see who's watching. Maybe I should do that. Let's see who's with us here. I'm going to mute my volume and see what we got. We got Sven watching, Sharada's watching, amazing. Mirka's watching from Finland, so good. Mirka, I just met, oh my goodness, I'm already forgetting her name. I just met someone else that just arrived here today from Finland, so that's super great. Everyone, if you're watching, Maureen Donnelly's saying hello. Hi to Maureen, so good to see you. If you're watching, you know my favorite game. Will you type in who's watching and where you're watching from, because I love checking in on where in the world our viewers are tuning in from, because we get people from Finland to Australia to the North America to South America and everywhere in between, and it really makes me so excited. Gina's saying, hey Chef Meg, Brenda's watching from Calgary, Canada, represent. So as you can see, and I think I just touched on this briefly, the camera is quite static today. Just grabbing my water. Kenneth is not with us. Kenneth is off doing some other duties this Sunday, so I don't have my cameraman Kenneth handy. But I'm also, you know, it works out because we're not doing any cooking today, sadly. So if you're here to tune in and do Making It with Meg, this is not the week. I'm actually going to just cover some basics of some ingredients that I quite often get questions about. I spend a lot of my days answering a lot of messages from you guys, whether through Facebook, Instagram feed, my business Facebook page, the Rythmia Facebook page, emails, what have you. I'm always answering a lot of questions from you guys that you have about ingredients that I touch on during these Facebook Lives, but maybe don't go into a lot of depth about or show examples of. So I'm going to be doing that today. So Kenneth is watching. Of course, Kenneth is watching. Eric Rincon is watching from Los Angeles. Al's watching from Lafayette, LA. So fun. Okay, so we're going to talk about ingredients. And the first thing I think we're going to do is we're going to go for a little walk. So I'm going to grab my camera. Because there's something I want to talk to you guys about. And as we're doing it, we'll talk and walk. I'm going to try not to make you guys too dizzy. So I want to talk about an ingredient here called moringa, and I'm pretty convinced that this ingredient is going to change the world. I didn't know anything about this plant until I arrived here in Costa Rica 5 years ago already. And the first hotel that I was working on, we had all of these trees growing out by my cabin, and we didn't really know what these trees were until our gardener, who was a North American man by the name of Gian, he informed us that the trees that were growing like weeds was a plant called moringa. And a moringa plant is I mean, it could cure world hunger, to be quite honest. It is a plant that is edible from root to stem to leaf. I'm going to show you what it looks like because we actually have some growing here at Rythmia. Flip the camera around with the awkward close-up. There we go. So this is a little garden here that we have growing by Rythmia. Kenneth is saying hi. Satu is watching. Okay. So this is our little garden. We've got some basil, as you can see. We've got peppermint, which we're going to talk on this in a minute. But here is the moringa. So these leaves here right in front are the moringa leaves. And these trees, and maybe Kenneth, you can pipe in here, these were tiny little saplings when we received them, and they've probably grown 3 to 4 times their height. I think the internet connection just cut out. So what I was saying was that these are the moringa trees right here. And Kenneth, if you can remind me how long ago we planted these and how big they were when we got them. I think they were probably only about 1/3 of what they are now. So this is the moringa leaf, the moringa tree, what it looks like as it's growing. And like I mentioned before, like you could eat the entire plant. And the leaves, hello, there seems to be a fellow named Colt just tuning in. Nice to see you, Colt, or to see your name anyway. So moringa tree as it's growing, and the moringa plant, there's my hand in front of the camera. The moringa plant is super high in protein, plant-based protein, and it's a complete food. And we could be feeding, you know, a lot of our hungry nations the moringa plant, and it doesn't take a whole lot to grow. So Kenneth, I'm going to ask you to please let me know when you think we planted those little saplings, so we can, you know, get a good idea. But the beauty of the tree is they grow super fast, and as the trees grow, you can just cut them off from the top and plant the cuttings, and the cuttings will immediately grow into other trees. So it's just such a really sustainable food. And the way that we typically eat it is in a powder. So this is a brand here in Costa Rica that I often use, and I'm going to give you a little bit more information about that. I'm just going to set you guys back up. Sorry for making you dizzy. Can you believe that I used to be a television director? There we go. So the moringa plant, I'm going to give you some real quick stats about moringa powder. 7 times the vitamin C found in oranges, 4 times the calcium found in milk, twice the protein, 4 times the vitamin A found in carrots, 3 times potassium found in bananas, and 3 times the iron found in almonds. So come on, talk about, I mean, hashtag superfood. So that is the food that I wanted to touch on first, because a lot of people, I talk about moringa and I haven't really shown it. It doesn't taste the best. It smells very medicinal, but you can see it's a green powder. You can buy it all over the place now. It's available on Amazon, in any local health food store. Moringa, hojas molidas. This is the ground moringa leaves. Super great thing. You can add it to your smoothies. I like to just toss it into like salads and things like that. I add it into my green salad dressings and the like. So that is our first ingredient. Cynthia's just tuned in. Cynthia, how's your dance going? Have you been dancing lately? I'll have you know that I've just been learning about the Dance of Liberation, which is a type of blindfolded dance that I'm going to be offering here at Rythmia moving forward. So you're going to have to come back, Cynthia, and dance with me with that. Michelle is watching from Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. M-I-S-S-I-S-S-I-P-P-I. That is correct. You remember in a past Facebook Live I was playing around with how fast I could speak and spell things, Mississippi being one that I've practiced. M-I-S-S-I-S-S-I-P-P-I. Okay, so let's talk about more ingredients, shall we? Actually, one more thing I should touch on. A little commercial here. Miracle Meals. If you haven't picked up your coffee, it's available on Amazon. You can get this one in Jerry's Book shipped instead for under $40. I recommend you go over there and do it and support it and carry the miracles home with you. Anyways, I didn't show you the setup that I've got, so I'm going to show you that real quick. Dun, 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 dun. P.S. Come on, Costa Rica. Could you be any more beautiful? Look at that. We've got beautiful blue skies, just enough cloud cover that it's not super hot. Increíble. Grateful every day. Tom is watching from Falls Church. Where's Falls Church, Tom? Fill me in. What I'm showing you guys here is just my little setup. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to go through some of these ingredients. Brenda's saying, have you always had so much energy, humor, and disposition? I've always had a lot of energy. Since quitting drinking, I think, which I'm coming up on 8 months, the 28th of this month, it'll be 8 months sober. I tell you, my energy's kind of through the roof. I can't really contain myself. My joy of living, kind of ridiculous. All right. I always get really worked up when I start these things. Did I start on time today? Was I live here right at 2 p.m.? So I always feel like I'm going to be like, I'm sweating, and I appreciate you guys all tuning in. My cousin Jeff just tuned in. Jeff, are you still camping? My whole family, the Donkers, my mother's... This has nothing to do with food. I'm sorry, you guys, that I do this all the time. But this is highly interactive. So my cousin Jeff just tuned in. And this weekend in Canada was the Donkers family reunion camping weekend. My mother's maiden name is Donkers. Gertrude Adriana Marie Howdy through Donkers. And my whole family was gone off camping. It's like the reunion week. So, Jeff, they must be camping somewhere where they have good enough Wi-Fi that he can be tuning in. Cindy Wright is watching from Houston. Tom is watching from near DC. Okay, perfecto. So why don't we get back to the topic at hand? The ingredients. So I've kind of got my ingredients cordoned off into some categories. I've got some sweet, I've got some seasoning, I've got some questionable ingredients, and some superfoods. So we're just going to start going through these and knocking them out as we move. So let's talk about sweeteners. I quite often discuss alternatives to sugar. Not that I have any real big problem with sugar. My cousin Jeff is saying it was a wonderful time, so camping must be done. Sugar is fine. I use raw cane sugar in my muffins here. I use tapa dulce, which is one of the lowest processed versions of cane sugar. Because I'm of the mind that we don't need to eliminate anything from our diets if we don't have any real medicinal reason to, because that's just a form of making ourselves crazy with restrictions and things like that. So I do use some regular sugar in a few of my dishes. My cardamom cookies, I have some raw sugar in it. But there are options and alternatives. One of my favorite things in the world, maple syrup. Canadian, eh? That's me. Maple syrup, not only is it delicious, but it's got a lot of great minerals in it, and it's got a very distinct flavor. As you know, if you eat maple syrup and put it on your pancakes, very different than just dousing your pancakes with something like honey or agave syrup. So this is a big old bottle of organic agave nectar. This is another liquid sweetener that I use here at Rythmia. Comes from a cactus that, I think it's the same cactus that we make tequila from, but this is clearly not alcoholic, even though it looks kind of like a liquor bottle. This one says this is made with U.S. organic blue agave nectar from Mexico. Superior sweetener, versatile for using in cocktails, sweet and sour mix, iced tea, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, it is made from a cactus, and it is gluten-free and vegan, so it's a great alternative to honey. I use honey in a lot of my recipes here as well, trying to appeal to all people. Some people are against agave for certain reasons. Other people, as you know, vegans don't eat honey. Maple syrup is a great option if you want to avoid both of those, but maple syrup can be quite costly. And if you're not living in Canada or the northern part of America, you might not be able to get the best quality. So find what works for you. So the next, keeping in with the sweetness, Boston in the hizzle. Melody's watching. Brittany Morgan just joined. Cindy's watching from Houston. I think I already said that. Okay. We're going to talk about a couple of my other favorite flavors in the world. Chocolate and vanilla. People always say that you're either on the chocolate camp or the vanilla camp. I'm not making a choice. I like them both equally. Well, no, I think I like chocolate better. As I sit with that for a moment, I am much more of a chocolate girl. Salted dark chocolate. Mental, take that. Colt, men, salted dark chocolate, the way to most women's hearts, I must say. Ladies, if you're watching, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you're with me on that. Salted dark chocolate, and if you can add caramel into that, come on, que rico. So I got here, we've talked about this in the past, these are, this is live, right? So sometimes I second guess the things I say. There's nothing I can do about that because we're live and this is going to forever live on the Rythmia archives. So I'm going to be careful where I go with these conversations. Raw cacao nibs. We've talked about this, that the cacao, the original, which is unrefined chocolate, comes in a fruit that's about this big. On the outside, it looks like rough leather, almost like the same coloring of a papaya, but a bit more rough in texture. And on the inside, there's a white flesh. There are seeds that are about this big that we roast and ferment, and then we crunch down into little bits like this to get cacao nibs. So that's one form of chocolate that I like to use a lot of. I use that in mixtures. You can buy this in fully pulverized powder form, which is cacao powder, which is great for using in certain recipes like avocado cacao mousse, which is on, let's see what page it is. Towards the back of the book, it's in my book. Dun, 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 dun. There's a picture. This is the raw cacao mousse. Really simple. All it is banana, avocados, coconut milk, liquid sweetener, and cacao powder. It is on page 99 of the book. Miracle Meals. So you could use that, so the ground cacao nibs made into a powder, or if you're not a big fan of chocolate, or for some reason you can't eat regular chocolate or cacao, you could try subbing in something like this, which is called carob. So this has got, a lot of people use it thinking that's going to have the exact same distinct flavor of chocolate, but it does not. I will warn you that it is not at all a chocolate substitute if you're looking for clear chocolate flavor. But it does have a nice sweet, bitter taste to it. I find it tastes a lot more sweet than actually cacao powder is, but it's a good alternative. Some people that have a lot of trouble with chocolate as far as sleeping and the caffeine content can find they do better with carob. So if you're interested, you could grab a bag of this and give it a try. Super, super delicious. Low in, it's fat-free and it's got some carbs in it, a little bit of natural sugar. Great flavor base. I like to add it. I make raw chocolate with this by melting down coconut oil, sometimes some cocoa butter, but sometimes just coconut oil, a liquid sweetener in this, and then I set it in the freezer in molds. It's really, really delicious. Sometimes ground coconut in there. Really, really yummy. Does anyone have any questions? Maureen's with me with the chocolate. Sherrod is with me in the chocolate. Cindy's saying both. Yeah, see, I love vanilla too. When I'm buying like vanilla, like if I'm buying protein powders and things like that, I always go for the vanilla. And I think the reason being, and I'll show you right here in this little Tupperware container. This is a plant-based protein powder, Sun Warrior brand. It's my favorite in the world, and I actually have this because I'm going to make a little smoothie when I'm done this live today to get me going for the rest of the day because I'm heading off to teach yoga after this live. But I always go for vanilla when it's vanilla over chocolate, for example, when it's something that I'm going to be combining with other flavors because vanilla is a bit more of a blank canvas and it doesn't overpower other things. So it's interesting. But let's talk a bit more about vanilla. So most people, when they're using vanilla in recipes, they turn to vanilla extract, which you can, it's just the liquid. It's the liquid dark vanilla that you see in the baking section of the grocery store. So that's a great option. But there are other ways to get your vanilla on, and one of them is in a powder form. So this is vanilla powder. Yeah, you can see that. So this is powdered vanilla. So what this is the inside of a vanilla bean that's been dried, scraped and dried, and just pulverized really, really finely. So you can use that as your vanilla in your recipes. See, sometimes you'll see in recipes liquid, specifically to use liquid or powder, and it all depends on the recipe and what the desired outcome is. But the most amazing way to use your vanilla is to buy vanilla beans. So this is an organic, gourmet grade vanilla bean that I haven't even opened yet. Ugh, so good. So this is the actual vanilla bean, and then all you do, and I didn't even bring a scissor, I'll just use my fingernails, is you split this bad boy down the middle. Oh, so good. This is so fresh, it's like squirting out the... it's squirting out the vanilla bean. So then, look at that. I don't know if I'm going to get that in focus, but I just put my fingernails, like scrape my finger inside, and got this amazing bit of vanilla. So what this is like the fresh, humid version of what we had in this powder form. It's not sweet. It's almost a little bitter because this is vanilla right from the pod. Like, it doesn't get any more natural than that. And you can buy these at any grocery store now too, and it'll be in the baking section alongside the vanilla extract. You can buy these like that are sitting in bourbon or like made into infusions with vodka and the like. So delicious. I like to scrape right out of the pod into my smoothies, and I find the flavor is just that much more real, legit, natural. Maria's saying, are you able to buy all these ingredients locally? Yeah, I bought all of these things here in Costa Rica. Our organic supplier that I get a lot of my fruits and vegetables from, as well as my rice and beans and things like that, he supplies me with the organic powder. I just picked this up at my local organic store here in Costa Rica. So if I can get them here, guaranteed you can get them in North America or Europe. I bought this carob here in town as well. So definitely available to get at town. Susan Ellis is saying, I was going to try this August 12th. You're going to try this August 12th. You mean you're coming to Rythmia August 12th? Amazing! Melody saying, I found a wonderful organic Mexican vanilla. Yeah, and that's the thing. The vanilla's flavor is going to be slightly different depending on the region where you get it from. doing a vanilla tasting would be a super fun. Chocolate tastings, those were all the rage a while back, tasting all the different chocolates, because there are so many different chocolates from different regions of the world with different flavor notes. So worth exploring. And now that I don't drink wine, because I used to be a wine connoisseur, I use that term very loosely. I used to be a wine member at many wineries and got wine delivered to my house, and I like to go get drunk and taste wines all day on the weekends. Does that make me a connoisseur? Probably not. But now that I don't drink, and then I'm still obviously a big food fan, doing things like the chocolate and vanilla tasting is kind of what's up and on my agenda. So when I travel the world, I want to try to find all the cool places where I can do things like that. And there's such minute, delicious differences in the chocolates that, well, some of them are minute, but some of the differences are super, super intense and really, really exciting. Another ingredient that you can really play around with in the different depths of flavor are salts. So this is just 2 examples. There are so many types of salt out there right now. So this is just a really great, completely natural. You can see by the color, it's been not bleached or chemically alterated in any way. It's a Himalayan sea salt, very, very coarse. So I just wanted to show that. And also in this jar, which I think I've touched on in one other Facebook Live, this is a black salt. Salam olik, is that what they call it? Let's look that up real quick. Black salt. Gosh, thank goodness for the Google. Dun, dun, dun. What's it saying? It's calling it Kala Namak. I was completely wrong. Kala Namak. So this is a black salt, and I have this huge jar. I'm never going to use all of this anytime soon because you have to use such a small amount, but it smells like, let me see, I want to get someone over here just to see if they can guess what this smells like, what this reminds them of, but no one, it's only right now I only see staff that don't speak English around me right now, so. It smells like hard-boiled eggs. There you go. There's the answer right there. So this black salt kind of smells like sulfur. So I use it in a lot of vegan dishes where I want to have like an eggy flavor. So when I do the tunaless tuna salad, I don't know why I can't talk. My tunaless tuna salad that you've seen, I've done it twice I think on 2 different Facebook Lives. It's a chickpea-based vegan salad filler or sandwich filler. It's supposed to taste like tuna. I add not only like nori flakes or dulse, which are seaweeds, but I also add a pinch of this, and it gives it a really nice eggy salt of the sea flavor. So those are 2 seasonings. And this day and age, you can get so many different infused salts. So you can get tons of different Himalayan and sea salts that have been infused with different herbs, and you can get sweet salts, like salts that are combined with sugar. Another really, really, really fun thing to explore. And I've been, every time I've been in North America lately, whenever I go to the grocery store, there's always such a huge variety. Want to come say hi to the viewers on Facebook? I don't know why I said it like that. But I'm like totally off topic anyway, so come on in. Hi, what is Tim saying? Hey Meg, I miss your wonderful food. I miss your wonderful food too. Hi everyone. So, if you haven't met our dear friend Shanti, this is Shanti. She's with us for a couple of months, I think, right?
Couple months, yeah.
Amazing. So she is one of the newest members of our outrageously talented and love-fueled my multitasking team. And so she's helping me with everything, with the intakes and the check-ins and the breath work and the yoga, and they're doing a little bit of everything, right? Ceremony. She's working in the ceremony space. So if you're coming in the next few months, you're going to meet Shanti in person. What have I got here? I've got saying, I love this, I'm watching live, and this is pure awesomeness. I love people that watch these lives. So much fun. Hi guys, how was lunch? Excellent. So yeah, you'll meet Shanti if you're coming the next few weeks, next few months, and maybe we'll get her in here helping me be my sous chef at some point.
Ooh, that'll be fun. That'll be super fun.
Yeah.
And now I gotta go do intakes.
There we go.
Guys.
It's Sunday, as it always is. Coming and going.
Love you.
Thanks for popping by.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's get back here. Call you guys up. Da, 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 da. Susan Ellis is arriving on the 11th, so maybe you'll see her there. So Susan's coming, amazing. Stuart saying thank you for looking after Dylan last week and helping have such an amazing time. Oh, Dylan was such a sweet, sweet soul. Michelle saying I have found since I no longer drink alcohol and haven't in 6 years that any vanilla extract with alcohol gives me heartburn. Yeah, that makes sense. Here in South Mississippi, it's challenging to find out, I bet, in Mississippi for sure. I use it primarily in my choco mole, which is avocado chocolate pudding. Yes, that's what we were just talking about. Chocolate avocado mousse is what I was calling it. Okay, so shall we move on to more topics? Let's do that. So we've already talked about the vanilla. Seasoning. So this is one that I do talk about an awful lot, is the difference between soy sauce, nama shoyu, and tamari. So we all know what soy sauce is, right? It's that super thick and rich, salty Asian sauce that we dip our sushi in and we use in stir fries. And I'm always giving options. And one of the options that I always say is tamari. So this is just a bottle of that, which is, it's made with 100% soy, tamari, gluten-free. So quite often people assume that tamari is gluten-free full stop, but it's not. You really need to look for it on the label and check your ingredients, because the difference between tamari and soy sauce is just simply that soy sauce is typically made with like 4 ingredients, the main ingredient being soy, but the soy is roasted alongside grains, and that's what helps give it a really deep flavor, and then fermented, and then the liquid is extracted. Whereas tamari, the wheat it's very, very minimal amounts of wheat or other grain that are added, or none at all. So you actually get more of an intense soy flavor. And if you're getting a tamari that was roasted and fermented without any grains, then you're going to get your gluten-free version. So tamari, not always gluten-free. You got to check the label, but that's a great alternative. So I find it's a stronger flavor. It's typically a little bit less thick, from what I find in my experience, and typically gluten-free, so that's an option. And another option, which I don't have an example to show you, but it looks the same, just check the label, it's called Nama Shoyu, which is the raw version of soy sauce. Typically not gluten-free. A lot of raw foodists use it, some raw foodists don't, because the soy is still heated well above like the 108 to 110 degree Fahrenheit temperature that raw foodists believe is kind of the threshold. But Nama, N-A-M-A, Shoyu, which is S-H-O-U, is a great, more raw-ish alternative. A little bit milder in flavor, a little bit thicker in texture, but a great option as well if you want to get a little bit more raw. And if you really want no soy in your life, if you're soy-free for whatever reason, then we can go with coconut aminos. And this here is the product of the sap from a palm tree being combined with sea salt, fermented, and the liquid extracted from there, and that's what this is. And it's a very great sweet, this is a bit more of a sweet and savory condiment, but can be used in place of soy sauce in many of your recipes if you want to go soy free. All right, so what have I got here? Susan Ellis is saying, I thought the dietitian said to avoid fermented fruits. Am I wrong? Yes, Susan, depending on who you're talking to, fermented foods are 100% recommended to be avoided. But that being said, fermented foods are really good for your gut, and especially if you're not used to traveling or being in a Central American country that you're not comfortable with, having a little bit of probiotic fermented food in your body is going to actually help you just keeping your digestion on track. And any of these things, any of the foods that I offer on the buffet here are totally fine in small amounts. I would not serve anything here that would be completely counterintuitive to serve with the medicine. The entire shamanic team here agrees with me. We've had the conversation. If there was anything I put out there that they didn't think made sense, they would be the first to let me know. So when you're here at Rythmia, you can feel confident knowing that anything that's served is good and that you're okay to have it. If you can stick to your diet, as part of your preparation plans and avoid certain things, then I would say go for it, because the more prepared you are physically, the less physically painful your purging and medicine ceremonies might be. But I don't think we need to be too concerned about that. Thomas saying coconut stuff looks good. It is quite tasty. It's really, really good, the coconut aminos. I really, really like it. I'm all about the sweet and savory, and this is kind of the perfect balance. And I like to utilize the maple syrup and the coconut aminos. I think I've talked about the vegan coconut bacon on the show. And these two combined together with the coconut is super, super delicious. With the addition of one other ingredient that I talked about, liquid smoke, which is not exactly a health food. What are the ingredients? Water, hickory smoke concentrate, and polysorbate 80. Clearly anything with a name like polysorbate 80 has probably got some sort of cancer-causing agents. I'm sure someone out there has more information on it. But you literally will use 1 or 2 drops per recipe of this, because it's super potent, and all it tastes like is hickory. It tastes so good. It tastes like smoke. That's why it's called liquid smoke. So this one is a great alternative to have, a great ingredient to have on hand just for adding a bit more depth of flavor. And another thing I like to always have on hand is miso. So this is a fermented soybean paste. You'll see it in a lot of recipes. I use it for depth of flavor and umami. Umami is, the 6th taste. the one that we've just started utilizing and discussing in the food world in the last 10 years, which is that super rich, deep, savory flavor, and miso, lends itself to that, offering that to many recipes. So this is miso. You look for it in your refrigerator section. You want it to be raw and fermented, so it should be a food that needs to be refrigerated if you're going to buy it, instead of buying it off the shelf, say in the pantry aisle at the grocery store. Sip of water. Okay, along the same note, as far as flavor, nutritional yeast. We have talked about this in the past. My screen just got really dark. I don't know why. I wonder where that is. I can't really see anything on my screen. And yeah, Amazon. Someone's saying Amazon. You can buy all this stuff on Amazon, guaranteed. Why is my screen so dark? Excuse me, guys. I can't really see myself. Can you guys still see me? Seems so. Seems so. No, it's super dark. What's up with that? Let's have a look, see what's going on here. Sorry about that. It's super dark, isn't it? Weirdness. Weirdness. If I tilt it down, is that better? Not really. Sorry, guys. Just gonna have to deal with me being in the dark a little bit. I don't know why it's doing that. iPhone. That's my iPhone. So this is nutritional yeast. We've talked about this in the past. This is an inactive yeast. Yeah, the screen is dark, right? I made it darker. It's not super dark. It looks good. Okay. Good? Good. We're almost done. Nutritional yeast, an inactive yeast. You can buy that, this brand. I mean, I hate hawking brands, but you can buy nutritional yeast from these guys. Tons of health food stores now sell it as a bulk food section, and it's just yellow flakes, and it gives a nice cheesy flavor. Depending on the brand, it also can be a great source of different vitamins, as well as B12, which is super important if you're following a plant-based diet. What's next? Let's talk about a couple of ingredients that people have asked questions about. I quite often always talk about chickpeas and how I like to cook them from the dried state. So I just want to show you, you can buy these in the bean section at your grocery store. This is what garbanzos look like before they've been cooked. Quite often, I've had a lot of clients in the past that are like, chickpeas come in cans, pre-cooked, how are they ever going to be raw? Well, this is the way you can deal with them if you want to have them raw. You just buy them like this, you soak them. And if you look back to my sprouting Facebook Live that I did a while back, I talk all about how to sprout your chickpeas so that you can utilize them in their raw form. But this is what they look and sound like dry. So to cook them, all you do is soak them overnight in water, because that just helps speed up the cooking process, and then cook them in a pot with water like you would pasta. It could take like 40 minutes or something like that. The next thing I'm going to show you is steel cut oats. So I've talked a lot about the different types of oats. At one point I forgot the word for old-fashioned oats, but you can see here that this is what steel cut oats look like. This is the whole oat before they've gone through rollers to crush them flat into what the oats traditionally look like that we're used to when we buy avena, which is Spanish for oats. So this is steel cut oats. I like to just soak these in water overnight and then give them a quick rinse through a strainer, and then combine them with all of my favorite cereal ingredients like fresh fruit and nuts and seeds and a little bit of almond milk, and eat that like a muesli. And these are really great because they force you to really chew. You really have to chew steel cut oats because they are very, very toothsome. So I'm all about making sure we chew our food and being patient and taking time with our food. And being mindful, and these really force you to do so, and they get stuck in your teeth, and it's all good fun. Another thing I'm going to show you is this pasta noodle. These are red lentil pasta noodles. So this is something I've just discovered, and I'm falling in love with them. And so they're a great source of gluten-free, plant-based protein. You can top them any way you want. These are really, really good with like a vegan pesto, which I've done many times, I think a number of times anyways, in the Facebook Lives in the past. It's also, I think I have a pesto recipe in my cookbook, but this is a red lentil pasta, really, really delicious. It doesn't come in jars. These are just jars that I have them stored in my kitchen at home. What's next? What's next? What's next? I've got a few more that I want to touch on. What time are we at here? 2:35. Great. So this here, this is I think it's actually a seed. It's called Sancha Inca. Did I get that right? Sancha Inca? It's a seed from Peru. And it's got a really nutty, toasty texture and flavor to it. I did write some notes down around about it because I don't want to tell tales. Inca nuts is what they're called, and it's from the Amazon rainforest, and they're a great source of omega-3 and a complete protein. I haven't seen a lot of these in North America, but I see them quite often in different health food shops here in Costa Rica. So I've been buying them and using them. I just pop them as a snack. Really, really good. Something new to try. I thought I'd just share. Again, spirulina, which I've talked a lot about here on my live. So this is the spirulina granules, which is the best spirulina I've ever had in my entire life. And they would get it, it's here in Costa Rica, produced here in Costa Rica. And it's kind of a mildly sweet spirulina. So it's very different than a lot of the powders that I've bought in North America in my day. So that's a great one to have. And I've also had a lot of people emailing me lately, strangely, asking me for my corn tortilla recipe. And if you've ever made your own corn tortillas, you know that there's not really a recipe involved. That corn tortillas are really just corn flour, just a super fine flour made from milled corn. I'm gonna just get my hand, show a little bit. It's just this corn flour, really fine, super fine ground corn, combined with water, and you just combine the two of those ingredients. I don't even add salt. You just combine those two ingredients into a nice meal, like a moist meal, and then you roll them into balls and you flatten them and you cook them in a cast iron pan. That, my friends, is the recipe for corn tortilla for all of you that have been asking. But this is, I just wanted to show you, like, this is just one of many different brands, but this is how you buy the corn flour. It comes in bags like this, probably in your international food aisle at the grocery store. And one other super fun ingredient that I just have been learning a bit about is ground canary seed. Now this is a Costa Rican company here, Hinka, where I get a lot of my superfoods from. But this is literally the seed that you feed like birds, like bird seed. And for a long time, it was not approved by any of the food people, FDA, the food and drug. I don't remember the name. I don't pay attention to what the names of any of these ruling bodies are. But you couldn't eat the seeds because the outside hull in them have these micro hairs on them that are almost like fiberglass. So you couldn't eat the seeds as humans. They were never, it was not approved. But they figured out a way to make a breed of this seed that does not have these micro hairs on the outside so that humans can eat them. And it's a really great ingredient to explore because it is super high source in fiber, naturally gluten-free, great, lots of natural enzymes. And let me just check the fiber. The protein. There's also a bit of protein in these. And super cheap. You know, this, if we can get this going alongside the moringa, this is a great solution to keeping our bodies really full of nutrition and just another great source of nutritional fat and protein from a seed. Canary seed. Who knew? Naturally gluten-free. So yeah, that I think is all I want to share and all she wrote for today, my friends. Let's see if I have any questions here. Dun, 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 dun. Maureen Donnelly saying she misses your cooking. Cousin Jeff saying he's so proud, so sweet. Susan Ellis is saying, yes, are you able to buy these ingredients locally? Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so what's next week, you ask? We're going to be cooking next week. Sorry to disappoint everyone this week if you were looking forward to seeing me make some messes in the kitchen. Next week, we're going to be talking about quinoa. So we're talking quintessential quinoa, which is going to be some sweet and savory ways to use our favorite grain, which is funny. I didn't bring any quinoa out here to show you, but luckily enough, we'll be talking about all next week. I did bring amaranth, which is something that I didn't talk about. Oh, there's a couple of ingredients that I didn't talk about. So this is amaranth, which is a gluten-free, high-protein grain. Super small, tiny. When you cook it, it gets a little bit mushy. So not the best for using in salads and things like that, but amaranth, really good thing to check out if you want to play with your grains. And the other thing was ume plum vinegar, which is a great condiment. And this is a byproduct of pickling plums, which you see a lot in Japanese cuisine. And this is of the vinegar, which is the byproduct, and it's really quite delicious. It's flavorful. It's really just a great seasoning. And a lot of people have asked me about that because we sometimes use it here at Rythmia as well. So that's all I have to say about all of that today, guys. I hope you might have learned a little bit about some of these ingredients that I'm always going on and on about. And I look forward to seeing you guys here next Sunday, which will be... Next Sunday is July 1st already? Is that legit? That is true. Sunday, July 1st. Holy smokes, where has this year gone? I will be 8 days and 3 days sober by then. It's kind of exciting for me. But in the meantime, I wish everyone a beautiful week. Enjoy the beginning of summer. And, oh, Tom's asking, how can you make quinoa more flavorful? Well, Tom, you'll have to tune in next Sunday when I'm talking about all things quinoa, and I'll have many different recipe ideas for you then. Okay, so love you so much. Mwah. Come on down and purge and merge with us, and we look forward to seeing you here same time, same channel next week. Have a beautiful week, everyone.